Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host on Around the Horn, Ray Flowers. News out of Atlanta today, not what anyone wanted to see, either the Braves or fantasy baseball players. Martin Prado, the NL leader in hits, a man who's batting .315, a guy who qualifies at virtually every position on the field, well, that pinky injury of his resulted in him being placed on the disabled list today. The Braves had hoped to avoid that situation. They were hopeful that he might miss only about a week's worth of time, therefore they wouldn't place him on the disabled list, but the determination was made that injury to his pinky was not going to be something that would be resolvable in a week's time, so he was placed on the disabled list. The Braves will now go with all-star Omar Infante at second base full-time. Hopefully they don't lose too much for that short period of time with Prado out. Though again, Prado owners going to have a big hole to fill without their guy for at least the next couple of weeks. Andrew Bailey, he's left the hole in lineups as well with his strained intercostal muscle on his side. Now, the belief with Bailey, much like with Prado, is that he wouldn't necessarily need any time on the disabled list. The A's eventually determined that wasn't going to be a prudent move, so they did put him on the DL. But he's had some setbacks since he's been on the disabled list. Hasn't been able to throw regularly. The team now is saying that there's no chance it'll be activated on Friday, the first day he's eligible. They do say that they believe he could be back this weekend. At this point, he's still a couple of days away from throwing. Until we see him up on the hill throwing, it's really unclear where he is at physically. I therefore would think it'd be pretty dubious that he would be able to be activated this weekend, but again, it's a situation where the A's are saying that could be the case. Short term, Craig Breeslow, Michael Wirtz, still the guys to own in the ninth inning. The good news for Bailey owners is that he should be back fairly soon, even if it does end up taking him another week or so to get back in that lineup. What are the Rangers doing? Well, the Rangers did a lot of good things. They got Cliff Lee. They're leading the American League West. They've had tremendous production from guys like Hamilton and Vlad Guerrero. But the situation at first base now is a little bit odd. They had Chris Davis, who really struggled at the start of the year. They replaced him with Justin Smoak. Same thing, both those guys producing a terrible batting average while offering a little bit of power. So the Rangers went out and made a move to add corner infielder Jorge Cantu at the trade deadline. Belief being that Cantu would go into that lineup at first base, play every day, everyone would be happy, there we go. Well, that's not quite the situation how it's going to play out. Looks like Mitch Moreland, who was hitting about .290 with 12 home runs, mid-60 RBIs down in the minor leagues, he's been brought up and he will share time at first base with Cantu. Now, manager Ron Washington came out and said this is not a platoon situation. It's not going to be a strict lefty-righty matchup type thing. But he also went on to say, look, we're going to get Moreland some work at first base. So what we know at this point is we don't know who's going to be playing when. We don't know exactly what the split will be, but we do know that Jorge Cantu will not be in the lineup every day. Hopefully you didn't blow a large portion of your free agent budget on Cantu in AL-only leagues. He'll still play enough to have value. But Mitch Moreland, another guy's name to remember in AL-only leagues, says he is going to get some looks for the Rangers at first base. James McDonald was traded to the Pirates. Now, big deal, big whoop, no one really paid much attention to that. But James McDonald, he owns a pretty good arm, folks. He did a lot of good things in the minors when he was with the Dodgers. He has struggled when he was up in the big leagues. But going to the Pirates club, they're not going to waste any time with this guy. They're going to put him directly into that lineup. Daniel McCutchen is going to be removed from the starting rotation. He's been awful anyway, so it's not a big loss there for the Pirates. McDonald is someone to add in NL-only leagues, and he's someone to keep an eye on for next season because though he's had struggles, he does present a lot of talent in that right arm of his. Still has a fairly bright future if he can learn how to throw some strikes and do a good job lasting deep into games for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Joe Mauer. Boy, Joe Mauer continues to miss time with injuries. He had a cortisone shot in his shoulder. He's still not in the lineup today on Monday. The team is hopeful he'll be back very soon, a couple of days probably at most. But Mauer's had a rough time of it. Now, he's really started to hit well of late, so this injury really comes at a bad time. Though I suspect, and many suspect, that Mauer's been injured for most of this season, which is one of the main reasons his production has been down a bit. This is just what happens when you're a catcher, folks. It's why taking Mauer in the first round this year was a huge risk. It's why the Twins giving him a massive $180 million contract was a huge risk. Catchers just get beat up from the nature of the game. Hopefully Mauer will be back soon, by the middle of the week, be back to ripping the cover off the wall like he was before he was DL'd. Continue to keep a close eye on him though. He could be in and out of the lineup the rest of the way because it looks like the only way he's going to get that body fixed is to just take a bunch of time off. Corey Hart, he's not a player that's taken much time off other than recently when he hurt his hand. But look, the Brewers, guess what? Signed Corey Hart to a 3-year deal for $26.5 million. What makes this odd? Days ago, they were going to trade Corey Hart. Weeks ago, they were certainly going to trade Corey Hart. Before the season started, the Brewers wanted nothing to do with Corey Hart and were basically offering to give him away to anyone. So what happens? They hold on to him. He blows up and has his best season to date. He gets injured before the trade deadline, which torpedoes his value, so the team decides to hold on to him. And mere hours later, less than days, he signs a 3-year extension, which came together awfully quick. Don't know what this means. I don't know if this gives me a lot of faith in what the Brewers are doing in their front office. Obviously not quite certain where they're at. There's been some whispers that they're looking to do something with Ricky Weeks to lock him up. They've obviously already got Braun under contract. Prince Fielder, probably not going to be there long term. He's got another year on his contract before he hits the free agent market. I guess they're trying to do everything they can to brace themselves for the loss of Prince Fielder. But again, really odd that they're changing seemingly their philosophy in midstream. And then finally, Jacoby Ellsbury. I probably mentioned him here 40 times on Around the Horn at BaseballGuys.com. Injury. The rib issues kept him out. He's back in the minor leagues. He's doing pretty well actually down there. The team has said, look, we're going to keep him in the minors until he's healthy. We've waited this long. We don't want him coming back and being hurt. We want him, when he returns to the lineup, to be 100% and ready to go. So he'll probably spend maybe another week or so in the minor leagues. He could be back before then. The Red Sox could definitely change their opinion on that. But at this point, he'll see some more time, which is probably a good thing anyway. He's missed so much time at the dish. Seeing pitches is not a bad thing. Hopefully when he gets back, he won't be reluctant to steal bases, won't be reluctant to throw his body around the bases. That's where the majority of his value obviously comes from. Again, I'm Ray Flowers. It's BaseballGuys.com. Don't forget to visit me at Twitter.com/BaseballGuys. If you want to have all your up-to-date information on the world of baseball, I'll talk to you all again soon.